Hello and a very warm welcome. My name's David Roth from WPP, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to Follow the Sun, 24 hours of broadcasting right across the world to celebrate the launch of the WPP BAV Best Country Study for 2021, done in conjunction with US News and the Wharton Business School. It's a pleasure to have you join us for this section. Of course, this broadcast is going to be right across the world. We're starting in Australia and New Zealand, and we'll be ending at the end of the 24-hour period in the USA. Well, we've got an absolutely packed broadcast today, and I'd like to start off by introducing Mike Sussman from BAV. Mike has been the brainchild behind the Best Country Studies for many years, and there's nobody better to put the Best Country Study into context. Over to you, Mike.
Thank you, David. We're really excited about the launch of the 2021 Best Countries study. It's the most comprehensive study of the power of nation brands. We've been doing this for 6 years, covering countries that represent 95% of the global GDP and about 75% of the world's population. So an amazing coverage. This year, we're looking at 78 countries. We spoke to over 17,000 business decision makers, citizens, and elites around the world. And we've ranked countries on a battery of metrics, including 26 key rankings that we'll talk about throughout this report and throughout the app. One thing we've seen over time is the shifting impact of soft power. It's becoming more and more important to driving the power of a country, while hard power, like banks and tanks, as we call it, the more traditional power, is becoming less impactful on the success of a nation. When we think about the power of a nation, we think about 10 key dimensions, and you can look at each of these ranks and how a country does on these things, from entrepreneurship to cultural influence to quality of life. We've introduced 2 new ones that are becoming more and more important today in these changing dynamics of culture. One of those is how socially purposeful is a nation. And the second is how agile is a nation, and how responsive it is to things, particularly during a COVID era. And both of those dimensions are extremely important in driving the GDP and the success of a nation. Agile nations are seen as 3 times more likely to be a better job market. They're rated 3.2 times more likely as being economically influential. They are more connected to the rest of the world. So agile nations are doing something to resonate with people globally. Really important to mention, and it's the biggest driver now of GDP. And that's something that the nations need to be more and more of today. So when you think about agility, the top nations around the world this year are USA, number 1 in terms of being an agile country, followed by Australia, and in 3rd place is Canada. We continue to see the rising power of purpose, not just for brands, but also for nations. In fact, purposeful nations are 57% more likely to be considered for tourism, 55% more likely to be considered as a place to do business. So it's important to be seen as a purposeful and socially responsible country. Number 1 on this purposeful dimension is Canada, followed by Denmark, and in 3rd place is New Zealand out of 78. So pretty impressive, pretty strong dimensions, very important. We also see the power and impact of brands that resonate from countries. In fact, 79.5% of citizens say that consumer brands play an important role in defining a country's culture. So there's a strong relationship between the brands and the nation. We also see that 78.6% of citizens say that the country a product is made in impacts their preference for a brand. So you can see that interplay between brand and country and how important it is today. And we started measuring the power of what does it mean to be made in a specific country. What does made in America mean, and made in China? And we can rank the power of these nations in terms of their exports. So, for instance, Germany ranks number 1 in terms of the country you'd want to buy an automobile from. They also dominate on pharmaceuticals and beer. So you can see a little bit of a balanced power of that nation. Italy is number 1 on fashion. So that's the top brand for when you're thinking about buying fashion brands. France owns cosmetics. In terms of the best countries for real estate, Canada ranks number 1, followed by the United States and then France. So overall, again, you can see how the building blocks of a nation affect its overall ranking. And we're excited to share some more details with you. Back to you, David.
Well, now it's time to get an overview of the key insights from the 2021 study on a global perspective. And who better to do that for us than Professor David Ribstein from Wharton University. Professor Ribstein has been our partner in this study since it started, and his unique understanding and unique perspective of countries, of brands, and what's driving GDP growth is unrivaled. So let's hear from David now.
Hello, I'm Dave Ribstein. I'm a marketing professor at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. I've been involved with the Best Country Study since its inception. This year has been a different year. It's been a transformational year. There's been many things that have affected how we view countries and how we live our particular lives. First and foremost, obviously, we've had to deal with the COVID-19 and the tragic loss of millions of lives all around the world. Accompanying this has been the huge impact on economies of various different countries, leading to an overall global recession. Some countries have handled the pandemic well, such as South Korea and Taiwan and several others, whereas other countries have not handled it nearly as well. Accompanying this pandemic has been the subsequent vaccine distribution. And this has required acquisition of vaccines as well as some form of equitable distribution of those. Perhaps Israel has been the country that has done the best at it. There are others that are catching up, but there are other countries that are still struggling today with trying to manage the vaccine distribution. A third major thing that's been happening this year has been the Black Lives movement that originated in the United States and has found it in various other countries all around the world. Climate impact has been a major event that's happened in various different countries. Perhaps the most notable are the brush fires that happened in Australia. We've seen other events, such as the explosions that happened in the Beirut port, killing millions of lives. And of course, we could not ignore Brexit and the impact that's had on the British economy, as well as the economies of Europe. Many, many events have made this year an exceptional year. And it's part of what it is that we've all had to adjust to. Perhaps the greatest impact, of course, has been the pandemic. And what we have witnessed as individuals is we see that how we buy and where we shop, that's changed. How we work, many of us working from home, some of us not having jobs. So there's been a dramatic impact for individuals, where we eat and how we interact with family and friends, dramatically affected, and we've had to adapt. Businesses have had to adapt as well. And what they have had to do is how they connect with their customers has changed. Meetings have changed. The ability to have trade shows dramatically affected. The whole supply chain has been disrupted. And certain industries, such as the hospitality industries or the airline industry, have been dramatically affected, with sporting events being canceled throughout the world. So many, many industries have suffered as a result. And when I've talked to business leaders, almost inevitably, what it is that they tell me is they've needed to be agile. And it sort of is the buzzword that I hear from companies. But that's not restricted to just individuals and companies. Countries have had to adapt as well. And what it is that we have seen is we see, obviously, trying to get the healthcare systems up to speed and handling with this medical crisis that we've got. And getting medical supplies to the hospitals and to individuals has also been an issue. But trying to cope with the unemployment levels and trying to deal with that and supporting the local governments has been a major issue for countries all around the world. And what countries have had to do they've had to adapt as well. Well, we too at the Best Country Study have had to go through our own adaptations. We've added 13 new attributes that we use for evaluating countries, and we have taken one of the previous dimensions, that of citizenship, and we have morphed it into a dimension that we call social purpose. And what is social purpose? It has many of the dimensions that we had in citizenship, but it also includes dimensions such as human rights and racial equality and social justice and climate concern, that have all been attributes that now feed into the social purpose dimension. And we've added a new dimension. And this new dimension, this new overall factor is one of course, agility. And what is it that we have feeding into agility? Our perceptions of countries in terms of their adaptability and in terms of responsiveness and how progressive they are and how modern they happen to be and how dynamic they are, all feed into this agility dimension. So with that said, let's take a look at the latest rankings that we have.
Hi, my name is Vanessa, Influencer Manager at Ogilvy Africa. I am also an online content creator and host of the Influencer Whisperer on social media, also known as Coco.
And I'm Francis, Social Media Executive at Ogilvy Africa. But on the side, there's something interesting I do. I bring dead Mercedes-Benzes back to life.
When you hear or think about Kenya, you think of marathoners, epic safaris, sandy beaches, flamingos, wildebeests in the Mara, and sunsets in the wild.
Let's meet some of the people who are part of the Kenyan startup culture. These are ordinary people who fuel the Kenyan hustle.
In some parts of the world, the word hustler may evoke a sense of obtaining things by forceful action or persuasion. In Kenya, it's the spirit to overcome challenges, the courage to step out of your comfort zone and go for it. It's ordinary people doing their bit to either make a living or make a difference in the community.
To kick us off is Kitu Kali, slang for hot stuff. They are a Kenyan startup injecting style and soul to modern footwear.
I make shoes, Ankara shoes. I do them here in Kibera. Coming up with a business was by chance because I kept on thinking, what can I do? You know, I'm being a Montessori teacher, 10 years, the same life. So one time I opened a shop. I found a friend who wanted to share a shop. So they asked me what I could do. So I said I will do African thing, and that is how I started making shoes. I found fundis who are proactive, who we can work together, who we can share ideas and implement them. We are so grateful because we finally managed to make a partnership in the UK. Imagining somebody in the UK wearing shoes made here, handmade with love, made in Kibera.
They use Ankara, a vibrant African fabric produced in limited individual batches, so no two pairs are ever exactly the same.
Fabrics and materials such as kente and Ankara are sourced from local communities. Our walk in their shoes not only empowers your style, it empowers every steady Kenyan hand and their families.
Kitu Kali has one-of-a-kind footwear, and every purchase their store brings acknowledges the hard and artistic work that goes into each product.
Interesting, eh?
Really cool designs, Vanessa. What do you think? You should probably get a pair.
I think I will. Next, let us introduce you to another group of hustlers, a group of women connecting artisans through a mobile platform.
I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur for since 2010.
Soko is a women-led jewelry brand and tech platform built to connect Kenyan artisans with the global market. They are working to reduce inequality, poverty, build stronger communities through the creation of jobs with dignity and purpose.
Soko is inspired by strong women who refuse to be defined by the status quo.
Women who create, innovate to build brighter futures for themselves, families, and communities. Through persistent exploration of form, materials, and innovative artisans' techniques, Soko creates jewelry collections coveted here and abroad.
How cool is that?
Right? Women showing how it's done and winning.
Love to see it. Now guys, from Kitu Kali, we now take you to another space, cyberspace.
Many believe Kenya could become the Silicon Savannah of Africa. Hubs and business incubation centers are spearheading this growth. One such hub is iHub, a co-working space founded in 2010.
My name is Eric Hirschman. I'm one of the co-founders of Ushahidi with Juliana. We also built the iHub, where we're sitting in Nairobi, Nairobi's innovation hub. This is where the investors come. This is where the startups are. This is where the media come to find their stories about who's building what. And it's really just like this melting pot of all the right people and the right things around technology in the country, and specifically the city of Nairobi, which is where most of it's at. And it's the place where we, as our job is, we found out later after we built it, is really just to engineer the serendipity that's needed to make sure that people come together and good things happen.
Co-founder Eric Hersman refers to it as space for the tech community to gather, call home, and work on some fun ideas. They boast of over 450 tech startups with roots at iHub.
The young techies get access to networks, mentors, investors, and experienced experts. they are able to incubate ideas, conduct R&D, and raise funds for their hustle.
From Tech Labs, let's take you to the world of finance.
Ask any Kenyan which bank embodies the Kenya hustler spirit. Francis, do you know?
Of course I know. It's Equity Bank.
Whilst big multinational banks shunned the common man or the hustler, James Mwangi spotted an opportunity to bank the unbanked.
Today, Equity is the largest bank in East and Central Africa with an asset base of $10 billion with over 14 million customers in Kenya only.
James Mwangi, CEO of Equity Bank, tells us his hustler story.
Equity Group realizes finance alone is not enough. So it has supported insurance, banking, brokerage, investment banking services with a technology platform provided within the group. But more importantly, with a foundation that helps to add on what financial services can't. Building capacity in SMEs, bringing and de-risking low-income families and individuals so that they can consume services.
From banking, let's take you on another hustle. We'll start with some questions to you.
Did you know that 70 million tons of waste generated annually will double in 2025?
And did you know 11.3 million hectares of forest was destroyed last year due to human activity? An enterprise is looking to reverse all this.
EcoPost is a social enterprise that cares about people and the environment.
The enterprise addresses the challenges of plastic pollution, chronic youth unemployment, and climate change.
EcoPost uses 100% recyclable material to make aesthetic, durable, and environmentally friendly plastic lumber. Applications range from fencing and landscaping, making it the most environmentally friendly product in the market. It's made from 100% recyclable waste.
So we bring them here. This is the first step. They're offloaded from the truck. Then we store them until we get a good quantity. From there, we're able to take them into processing.
Every month, EcoPost gives 40 to 50 tons of plastic waste new life as building material.
All this plastic waste has been collected from various dump sites, some streets, and even homes, people's homes. We crush the sawdust and we mix it with the plastic, and we make very good aesthetic and quality posts that can be used even for now building. It's an alternative to timber, so by so doing we're able to save a lot of trees, and we hope to save the 2% forest cover that is remaining in Kenya.
Lona Ruto, founder of EcoPost, tells us her inspiring story.
When I was in middle school, I realized I could actually withdraw that plastic waste that was littering the streets all over the place, and I could actually melt it and make some nice, beautiful ornaments like earrings and bangles and sell to other peoples and make some little money out of it. And I realized, wow, actually this is not total waste, this is a resource. When I was very young, when I graduated, I did accounting degree, and I graduated very highly, and the first job I got was to work for a bank, which I did for 2 years. But then one day I gathered courage enough, and I went and gave out my resignation letter, and I got out, and I went and pursued what I really liked to do, and that was when EcoPost was conceived.
Very inspiring. They're turning trash into cash. See what I did there? Anyway, from conservation, we cross over to tech and e-commerce. Let's take a look.
Mook is a social commerce platform that allows sellers to set up online stores quickly and easily with full payment integration.
The word Mook is slang from Kwanja, which means money.
It allows sellers to set up online stores within 4 specific categories: products, ticketing, music, and crowdfunding.
However, a niche that they have completely owned is monetizing content through online ticket sales. They support event organizers by selling and managing their tickets easily and efficiently across Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda.
They have serviced 1,700 events, selling over 450,000 tickets valued at an estimated $4.17 million. George Gashui tells us more.
So me and Eric started a company called The Ideas Company. Right. And all what we used to do is just sell ideas. Uh-huh. So he's from a background of research and trend analysis, and I was doing marketing and events. Right. So we combined this thought, and we'd go to brands, we'd go to agencies and say, you're doing X, but if you did Y, things would change in terms of, and our big focus was young people. Who are the guys who are trying to speak to the youth, to a young audience? And we did that for a bit, and one of the ideas out of that was this thing that has now become MOOC Africa.
Let us take you to Kibera. This will surprise you. It surprised us. Welcome to Kibera, where ballerinas are dreaming big.
Tomorrow's stars might just come from Kenya. The hustle culture is about resilience and trying out new things. A school in Kibera is doing just that. They're teaching ballet.
In 2016, Anopai set up a dance company to help kids dream big. She has expanded from just offering dance lessons to film writing, acting, and more.
Mike Wamaya is the co-founder of the dance school. He trained here, turned professional, and came back to help uncover future stars. He tells us more.
People look at it like, how do you get to become a ballet dancer when you are living in Kibera where there's nothing? But if you have a dream, you work on it and you become whatever you want to be. We just don't teach them to dance. We teach them to strengthen their dreams, you know? These are the kids who are going to make a huge difference in their society. And that's for sure, you know? Yeah.
And go and run slowly. 2, 3, 4.
Dance makes me to feel very good, and I felt from nobody to somebody. Dance inanimake nikuwe hata proud kwangu. Najua inaweza nifikisha mahali.
Mamangu hakuwa anajua ballet, alikuwa ananiambia nitoke, nikakata. Vile jana niliona akani understand.
That is the pride I have, that these children can get to realize the challenges they are facing and find a solution. We've realized we can never achieve it either by our tribes, but we have to do it together.
From dance, we dive into the ocean.
An enterprise is upcycling flip-flops, or pati-pati as we know them in Kenya. When disposed of, they end up clogging drainage, adding to the landfills, or drifting into the ocean. The good folks at Ocean Soul found a way to turn this into art. This is the social enterprise that's turning trash into toys.
Now, let's take you on a matatu ride. Come with us.
Kenyan public transport vehicles are called matatus.
When these entrepreneurs decided to use them as their canvas, they not only managed to create a new sub-industry, they created what we Kenyans refer to as matatu culture.
Moha Graphics is one of the pioneers and culture shapers. Here are his thoughts on what they have built and what it is like to create your own hustle in Nairobi, Kenya.
People go into pimp matatus for the comfort, the music. Then it's like you won't go to a dirty house. So people like pimping their matatus for more attraction, because they can, even old cars, like this is a very old matatu, but the way we have done it, it looks new. So it's a way of attracting customers, and people in Kenya, it's like their culture. It's like something pimped is the best and is faster, more reliable.
We've shown you what it is to embody the Kenyan hustle, breaking stereotypes, dreaming and
reimagining Kenya's place in the world.
We ask our colleagues to bring the inner hustler to work every day. To us, every Ogilvian is an entrepreneur who doesn't know what giving up means. To our clients, it makes us an agency of global might, but a local heart. We are Ogilvy Africa, and Kenya is our home.
Well, thank you all very much indeed. To celebrate this very special launch, we've created a very special app. It's a virtual reality experience where you can literally visit every single country that's featured in the 2021 study. Well, you can get it on your desktop, your laptop, your tablet, your mobile phone. All you need to do is just download it from the URL that's on the screen here. Enjoy, explore. It's full of interest and insights, and we'll be refreshing the content frequently over the course of the next few months. So please do go back frequently. Earlier, I talked about the significance of countries being seen as brands. This is being increasingly realised right across the world, not just by business leaders, but by governments at the most senior of levels. I caught up with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands and asked him how important he believes country brands are.
Mr. Prime Minister, what contribution do you think that retailing makes to the economy and society in general?
So many. I mean, it is the biggest employer in the Netherlands. 900,000 people are somehow connected to the retail sector, so it is huge in its economic impact. That means that many people, in many cases young people, start their working life experiences in the retail sector. It is also a place where you can learn how to be more entrepreneurial and how to start your own business. It is a sector in our economy which is very much focused on innovation and disruptive innovation. It is very much connected to the modern economy, to the internet, to online shopping. So there are so many positives. And it's also a place where people come together. It's also a sort of community place. In some of the stores, people drink a cup of coffee, meet friends, and then buy some stuff. So it has many, many impacts on society.
Mr. Prime Minister, you had a fantastic career at Unilever. You obviously know brands very well. Do you think country brands are as important as product brands?
Oh, they're crucial. And what I found in this job is that the brand of Amsterdam, the brand of the Netherlands, the brand of Eindhoven, or the whole commercial area around cities like Zwolle and Amersfoort are crucial for our international standing. And the fact that you can bike to school as a child, that it's relatively safe here, that there are so many possibilities when you like sports or culture. And I really learned to brand that much more than we did already.
One last question, Mr. Prime Minister. What advice would you give retailers today who are under a lot of pressure, under a lot of stress? Everything's changing very fast.
Yeah, but still, at the same time, you are in a fascinating sector. So enjoy what you are doing. We live only once. This is the real thing. This is not the. So you have to make the best of it. And there are so many opportunities for good salespeople, for good businessmen and women, to make use of all those opportunities which are out there, and do realize that you play a very important part in societies. You are really part of society.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, I can't believe it. We've come to the end of our broadcast. We're almost out of time. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in today's broadcast. And just to remind you again, please do download the app and enjoy going virtually into every single one of our countries in this year's 2021 Best Countries Study. So from me, David Roth, thank you very much indeed. And Mike, thank you very much indeed as well.
My pleasure. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.
Well, have a great rest of the day. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We really appreciate it.
you.